Evening, y'all. Out here for a nighttime walk and workout with Ash. Um, is it 10 o'clock at night on a Friday? They always tell me, watch where you going, watch where you going. All right. Well, we're out here. We're out here relaxing. I'm here to take your guys' questions, though. If you have questions, I was looking over offensive position groups today. I went at it pretty good for a couple hours. And some of the things I really discovered, I was going alphabetical, right? So I'm at A, and I went all the way through, I'm sure I went through I, Illinois, Indiana. I think I finished with them. I think H-I-J, J-K. No, I didn't get to, I stopped at Kentucky. Yeah, I definitely did. Kentucky and Kansas and them. But, Kent State. But looking at, I think my last team I did was Iowa State. And looking at the offenses and what they do, I have a pretty good grasp of what I want to talk about on each team. Some of the things that kind of caught me by surprise. One big one that's coming to mind is I didn't realize how good Georgia Southern's offensive line is. Like, Georgia Southern's offensive line is so much better than Georgia State's, and I didn't realize that, because you just assume Georgia State's had these great offensive line, but they had, one guy transfer out, and then they had like maybe two graduates, so it's just tight. What up, y'all? Gonna do what up? Good to see you guys. Shout out to you guys. Rico on vacation and is up at Michigan, still loving your content though. Shout out to you. Oh, shout out to you, Connor. Where in Michigan, man? I've been in Michigan in the summer. It's beautiful. I went up there for vacation one time, but I went all the way to like wine country. I went to Mackinac Island as well. I crossed the bridge into the Yooper. I went to a zoo up there. I went to another zoo where they did wine tasting. I was in Lansing. I did go to Ann Arbor. Did not go to Detroit. What up, Derek? My puppy's out here acting a fool. We're walking her for the night. I'm looking around, making sure there's no other puppies here. I thought I saw one here when I pulled up, so I got her on the leash right now. Usually I don't put her on the leash. That's why we're out here at night, so she can run free and do her thing, But she's rocking me. Upper Peninsula, oh my goodness. Yeah, I was up there, man. I went to this place called the Mystery Spot, and there was a zoo. I guess it's closed down now, like the Garland Zoo or some shit. That was crazy. They had like the biggest tiger I've ever seen in captivity, for sure. But like I was saying, I'm going to go back, and I was talking about offensive position groups, and I was going alphabetical, and I'm at the 9th or 10th letter in the alphabet. So I'm not really halfway, and I haven't even checked to see how many teams I've done. But every now and then I go to a team and I get really surprised by their offensive scheme and kind of what they have. An example would be Iowa. Iowa's offensive line is absolutely spectacular. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Iowa's offensive line is one of the very best I've seen in comparison to all these other teams. And Alabama's there. Georgia's there. But, man, did Iowa's offensive line really impress me today. You're south of Lansing, 30 miles. I think I was in Holt. You guys know Holt, Michigan? I think it was Holt. Yep. 28K on Bama National Championship future place today. Mike Schmidt, that's quite the number that you just made a donation. I don't think Alabama's going to win the national title. And this is how you know when a team is national title worthy. There's a couple things involved. What's the over-under on Alabama? It's 9.5. 9.5. Yeah, they expect them to lose to other teams. There's other teams out there that are going to beat them, and they expect them to lose 3 times. Vegas does, if you check the odds. So they're going to have to win that coin flip at least 3 times. Don't forget that. Station in South Alabama, Aviation, PCS from Bliss. Damn, Rocco Glaze. Dothan, Alabama? Is it Dothan? 28K could have cleared my car payment. I would have taken that donation. Justice, You know, something Kim's so grateful for. Last year, when we got our first big checks from YouTube, the first thing I did was pay off my car. And then the next big check I got, I paid off her car. The greatest feeling in the world is paying off your car, but I mean like really paying it to where not when you finally pay it off after 5 years or 6 years. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my car is 1 year old. It's the greatest feeling when you don't have a car note on a new car. Buying cars cash, that kind of deal. The greatest feeling ever. So, yeah, man, that dude just blew 28K on them. Fort Rucker, okay. Enterprise, Dothan area. So, Dothan Air Force Base, I think that I've been there before. Remember, I used to do military intelligence work. They would send me TDY to like all the installations, all of them. And I would spend like 2 or 3 weeks there just doing what we call site surveys, just surveying the network to see if there's been any infiltration or exfiltration. Okay, I don't see any dogs here. I'm gonna let my puppy go. Give me a second here. Come here, Ash. And she's gonna get her feet underneath her. Give me a second. She loves running. Go, mamas. She's like stretching out a little bit and running. She just sprints around, stretches out. She's been trapped in the house, so for her to be able to go and do her thing while I'm working, she's usually just sitting on the bed waiting. Come here, Ash. She's running to the street. Hey! Get back over here. What are you doing? I'm sorry, guys. Meant to be talking. Yeah, so I've been to like every military installation for at least a brief period of time. Just because I was on a rotation. I would be TDY like 200, 300 days out of the year. Yeah, she just wants to sprint. She just wants to go. Trying to get Novoso myself or Gordon. Yeah, Gordon's where it's at. Except for these hot nights like tonight, man. There's kids at the water park and it's 85 degrees. It's brutal. It's 10 o'clock at night. It's 85 degrees. Get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, just wanted to talk to you guys about some of these offensive teams, answer your questions about the sports, but I'm not examining the defense just yet. I'm going to get to it. But as I look at this offense, it's going to be probably 3 or 4 more days of real hard work. And I have to just break it up because it does get exhausting looking up every single offensive lineman, every single tight end, every wide receiver. I got to check every roster and just kind of clear up some of the cobwebs because there are new players on teams that I don't know. I'll give you guys an example. Every now and then, a JUCO kid will come and start for a team. And I have no clue who he is because he was not on a recruiting class. Like, if you signed in a recruiting class, I know who you are. If you're a bounce-back JUCO, I know who you are. But if you're a 2-4 JUCO, meaning you went to a 2-year university and then you transferred to a 4-year, I don't know who you are. Probably 99% of the time. So there'll be times I'll look at like a roster and I know everybody. And then I'll just see a random name and I'll be like, yo, who the hell is that? And it happened to me several times today. And I was just like, man, who are these people? I don't know. I was looking at FIU's roster today. There was players. I'm like, who the hell is that? So it's time. It takes time to learn everyone. Obviously, it's hard to memorize everyone, but that's my gift. I have the ability to retain information. And then I get distracted. Obviously, this morning I was working on UFC, and tomorrow I'll be doing UFC videos in the morning, finalizing the betting chart. I might do that tonight to surprise the MVPs with a finalized betting chart. If you guys don't know, if you're not an MVP, you want to watch UFC fights with me, MVPs get to watch the fights for free. That's a fact. Figure it out. We go out there and we put them on for everybody. It's my commentary. You ain't listening to Joe Rogan. You ain't listening to Daniel Cormier or Dominic Reyes or whoever it was. Dominic Cruz. These guys don't know the fight game. They're fighters. It's just like players, right? Like, players will talk about sports and they will be so informed. And they can explain to you what's going on. But not all of them. Not every single one of them. Not all of them know what's going down. Our biggest issue with the UFC fighters is they are so biased. They are so biased they can't hide their biases when it comes to like a guy they used to train with, a coach they like, if they have a feud with this particular fight team. They're doing their thing. Man, she loves it. My baby girl is just out here running, y'all. She's just sprinting around. I love it. She's like the Zoomies. She's just out here. I just love to see my girl just open up her stride. She'll get tired at some point and ask me to get her some water. She drinks from the fountain like a person. I'll show you guys that. I don't need the handout. What's going on? I missed it. I missed the conversation. Best quarterback in the country, Alabama will dominate. Justice, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you think Alabama has the best quarterback in the country? I think he could possibly be. Jalen Milroe is maybe top 5 in the SEC. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the country. I don't think he's in the top 3 in the SEC. Like, my quarterbacks in the SEC are, I'm trying to think, and I don't want to mess it up. Obviously, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Cook at Missouri for sure. Those 3. Oh, Jackson Dart. There's 4. Those are 4 really good quarterbacks in the SEC. Milroe's behind those guys, man. I just feel like Milroe's limited throwing wise. And I'm more excited about Lenora Sellers. Lenora Sellers, he's got his own teammates calling him generational. And that man's goggles are it, bro. You guys better know. Oh, Diego Pavia. Hey, Diego is a poor man's Jalen Milroe. Diego's a poor man's Jalen Milroe. You know who Diego reminds me of? And I'm not even gonna, I'm not gassing it. Like, I'm being real. He reminds me of me. I'm taller than him, but he reminds me of me in the sense that, like, they look at you and they go, oh, that guy's athletic. But they're still going to call you sneaky athletic. Like, you could rush for 900 yards and they'll be like, ah, he's sneaky athletic. That dude is a beast, bro. And they don't give him no love. That dude's a monster. He reminds me a lot of myself. He was a wrestler. I was a wrestler. I bet he'd be decent at track. He looks like he's got track speed. I look at some of these kids, I think, oh, that's me. I've done that twice. I've done that twice in film reviews. You know, the high school film reviews? I've come across 2 kids and I go, oh, he plays like me. I like that kid. Whether it be a high IQ on the film, just ready to go, just giving max effort, whatever it is. I just look at it and I go, oh, that kid plays like me. True story. Milroe's better than Hennigan. Isn't better than Hennigan. I don't think he is. He's obviously a dual threat quarterback, so it's a different skill set, but no. Jackson Arnold's a beast. I'm all about Jackson Arnold. ACC quarterbacks. Cam Ward immediately comes to mind in the ACC. Cam Ward, man, it's tough. There's not a lot of good quarterbacks in the ACC. Cam Ward, who's the kid up at Syracuse? Just transferred in from Ohio State. Hey, come here. You stay out of that street. Come here, get some water, mamas. Get some water. Let me show y'all my girl, dude. She's right here. See her? Y'all see her? She's at the drinking fountain like a person, bro. She's drinking like a person. She's standing and everything. Good girl. You done? She gets thirsty. She comes up, puts her feet up there, and waits for me to push the button. Big 12 looks great this year. Big 12 looks 9 teams deep. They look deep. And you know what? I got to apologize to TCU, man. TCU's offensive line is great. I did a deep dive on them the other day. Have I done their video? I think I have. They spent some money, and they got their offensive line together with the transfer portal. They really did. DJ Hungalele is not anywhere remotely listed in my top quarterback list. I just don't believe in him like that. Let me explain. DJU he was at Clemson for multiple years, and he was at Oregon State. He has had ample opportunities with NFL players around him to play great, to play at the echelon at which they said he was, right? Remember coming out of high school, The number 1 quarterback was Bryce Young. Number 2 was DJ. Number 3 was CJ Stroud. Those were the top 3 quarterbacks coming out of high school that year. And obviously 2 of them are already in the NFL. One of them is floundering around. So you could think highly of DJ all you want. But I ain't sold, bruh. I ain't sold even a little bit. I'm just not. When I look at Florida State, 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen are good. Everything else on offense leaves a lot to be desired. And I mean that. The running backs, not a high ceiling, but a high floor. They're not great. They're not those dynamic running backs. They're just okay. The same can be said for their wide receivers. Nobody's super dynamic that makes me go, oh my God, they're taking over the game. It doesn't feel that way at all. Their defense looks good. Their defense looks impenetrable. Forgive the pun. Their defense looks stout. Their offense leaves a lot to be desired. And unless DJU is going to go out there and start painting the whole football field with that ball, unless he's going to impress you the shit out of you, I don't know where it's going to get popping. I don't know where they're going to score at all. Sorry, thoughts on FSU to Big 12. Do you see it happening? I'm sure if they're talking about it, it could happen. Logistically, it doesn't make sense. But okay. I don't see it. Like, I personally don't see what's the appeal. Why would you leave the ACC? Is it a basketball move? Big 12 is the best basketball conference in the world. I don't understand. I'm kind of thrown off on that one. It doesn't make sense to me. Just to move, like, feels like a lateral move. So that's the other thing. It's like, if you're going to move, break grant of rights contracts, break every affiliation, and then probably have to pay an exit fee and an entry fee, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. When you look at who the ACC gained, it's not equivalent. I want to tell you guys this. Like, I used to talk to girls. I used to talk to women. And I can remember if I met a girl, like, let's say on a first date or something, right? I remember I had like 3 questions you got to ask a woman on a first date. 3 very important questions. And the questions are like, how do you problem solve? Right? How do you problem solve? But one of the questions is, hey, come here. Get over here. One of the questions is, who's your ex-boyfriend? Like what's your ex-husband do? Who's your ex? Who's the last guy you dated? And it's important because I need to know the caliber of person you associate with. And not because I'm worried about your ex coming at me, more because I'm worried about, how do you expect to level up? Come here, sweetie. Come here. Sit. I gotta link you back up. Like, let's say you date the dude who worked at McDonald's on fries. Let's say you dated a dude and he's a gas station attendant. Well, you don't get to get me. Like, you don't get to start dating me. You don't get to level up from that to me. Is it your fucking lucky day, bro? Nah, we ain't doing that. So that's why, like, I gotta find out if you associate with a certain caliber of person. And what I mean by that is, like, it just needs to make sense. So if you're the ACC, or I'm sorry, the Big 12, and you just signed Cincinnati and BYU and Houston and UCF, is that Florida State? It doesn't sound the same. It doesn't sound equivalent at all. It doesn't sound like they belong there. You know, that's just how I feel about it. I don't know. My girl's drinking again. Hold on, we're on another lap. She's out here doing her thing. Oh, mamas. This little girl's a beast, bro. Good girl. Hey, beautiful. You still thirsty? She is thirsty. She's out here working. Yeah, I'm sweating too. Ooh, stop. Let me fix the rope. There is nobody out here. I just don't want her to run into the damn street, bro. She's getting a little too excited. So, is Breon Ramsey Brooks still in the portal? As far as I know, if you guys don't know who Breon Ramsey Brooks is, as an offensive lineman from TCU, I think he weighs 450 pounds. He's an enormous man. He's got to weigh 400 pounds. And he's got weight control issues. They tell me he's an athlete, but he looks like he's not going to make it to be 30. There's a problem there. Top 3 SEC teams. So I don't worry about Big East versus Big West or none of that shit. Oh, you mean Big East teams better? Big East better. You're talking about basketball or something. Yeah, no, I don't think the Big East is better. I think the Big East has one better team. The Big 12 is definitely the best conference in America. Definitely. In basketball, whew. Make a video on Cap Raleigh hitting 5 homers in 4 games. I don't know who the fuck Cap Raleigh is. Thoughts on Elijah Badger to Florida from Arizona State? Obviously, he was Arizona State's leading receiver in a room that was pathetic, that was ill prepared, right? But here's the thing. Elijah Badger can play football. Is he that much better at Florida? I don't think so. I don't think he's the best receiver at Florida. So you have me talking about the second or third best receiver at Florida. Oh, dude, this is crazy. There's a little frog right here. You guys see this little frog on the sidewalk? He's big, though. I don't know if the camera's on him. I don't know, bro, but this guy's just chilling here. This little girl got nervous. Leave it, leave it. She tried to lick it. What was I saying? Oh, Elijah Badger. Yeah, when I watch tape, this dude, Eugene Wilson III, Trey Wilson, hey, Trey Wilson looks special, bro. I'm sure Elijah Badger's good. I'm sure he'll do good things. I hope Graham Mertz continues to play great in his decision-making. But Florida's offensive line leaves a lot to be desired. And defensively, my goodness, I don't know where they find answers. We'll see. We'll see where they find answers. Hey, Rico, I know we're talking football, but Ash is beautiful. Thank you so much, man. I spell her name with an E at the end, so A-S-H-E. Ash, yeah, she is the most beautiful person in our house. You know, it's Kim and I. This is our baby girl. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know the story of how I got Ash. I can tell you that one. I was at the car dealership. I was getting an oil change. I have one of those. I have the platinum plan at the car dealership. I just pull up and they start doing shit to my car. It's been like that for, you know, since I bought it. And the coolest thing is I'm standing there killing time, and they go and they start telling some guy to empty out his car because he just bought a new car. So he's emptying out his old car. He opens up the back seat of his SUV and out comes the most beautiful puppy. I mean, you can't even get to it, man. It was so pretty. It was like a gray coat, a light gray coat. What is a pit bull with hazel eyes or something? That thing was beautiful. And I told him, hey, man, that is a beautiful puppy. Where'd you get it? I asked him, where'd you get it? And he said, oh, my cousin breeds puppies. And I'm like, oh, snap, your cousin breeds puppies? Let me get a puppy, man. He's like, yeah, here, let me give you her number and you can get a puppy. So he goes, I think she has 2 left. I said, sweet, man. Do they look like that one? And he's like, no, this is the only gray one. This is the only light gray one in the litter, but there's other ones. He's like, but yeah, we have a bunch of pit bulls. So I'm like, cool, man. Let me get, so he gives me the number. And instead of texting this random girl, I decided to be Rico, man. I'm GQ Smooth. This was a couple years ago. So I was a ladies' man. I was on TikTok dancing every night. I was, you know, doing all my thirst traps and everything. So I wasn't like, I thought, man, I'm going to hook this up. I'm going to flirt with this girl, get a puppy for free or something. So I send a video to this girl. I send her a video of me talking like this. And I was cleanly shaven, just had a haircut. And I'm like, hey, I probably just finished working out. I'm dripping in sweat. I look good. I said, hey, how you doing? My name is Rico. I said, I got your number from your cousin. I was just interested, or I was just curious if you had any more puppies left. I'm interested in buying one. Please hit me back when you get a chance. She hits me back immediately with a text and says, I know you and I follow you on TikTok. True story. I said, what? This can't be real. And back then I had 15,000 followers, all females, all women, because I was just a thirst trapper. I was just dancing and working out every night on TikTok. I wasn't talking sports. I was just working out, doing my thing. Dancing every night and working out. And, flirting with the ladies on live. So she says, I know you and I follow you on TikTok. I'm like, what? She says, I'm the manager at Little Caesars. And I go, oh shit, I know exactly who she is. I talk to this lady every time I go get my Little Caesars pizza. Now, full disclosure, had no desire to want to flirt with her. Personally, not attracted to her, but she's cool people. So I was like, bet, where do you live? I'd love to come get a puppy. And she says, oh, well, I'm working right now, but I live down the street from Little Caesars. Why don't you come by tomorrow and come get your puppy and come pick one out? So she sent me pictures of Ash. Ash is a little baby. And Ash was the ugliest, smallest little puppy in the whole pack, in the whole runt. She was the run of the litter. And the litter had a bunch of beautiful babies, but everybody took them. And Ash was the only one left. And when I got her, she had never had a bath. She had never been to the vet. She had never been taken care of and loved. It was almost like a rescue. She lived under a trailer. It was just one of those things where it's like, yo, I got to get her out the hood. And now she lives great. I took her to the dog park every day for like 3 months so she could get acclimated and socialize. She doesn't bite nobody. She does bark. She is a good watchdog, good guard dog, but she doesn't do anything too crazy. But yeah, that's how I got Ash. I got Ash from the Little Caesars manager. Man, I forgot her name right now, but usually I never forget her name. I know her name. Forgot it though. But she's just good people. If I see her, I'll remember her name. That's crazy. But yeah, she's, hey, shout out to her. She leveled up. She now sells cars. She's a car salesman. She went from Little Caesars to Circle K, from Circle K to she sells cars now. She's a car seller. She's still on TikTok. Boom, boom, boom. Wilson is a dog. Do you have a comp for Castellanos at Boston College? Thomas Castellanos played at Ware County High School here in Georgia, southwest Georgia. Do I have a comp for him? My comp would be, think of a very marginal dual threat quarterback that can't throw the ball. Like, he's a great athlete. He might play slot receiver someday or something, but he's not a quarterback. He's terrible, like naturally inaccurate. And I need you guys to understand what that means. Like, if you picked up a football right now and you went to throw a quick slant, so somebody's running a quick slant, there are some people that visually can't measure or anticipate where they need to place that ball for the receiver that's running the route. It all depends on his speed, but you as a quarterback need to gauge where that person's going to be when the ball gets there. How hard are you throwing it? And where does the X and Y axis meet and cross, intersect? It's a very easy thing to do for somebody like myself or anybody who can naturally throw a football and has good timing. But every now and then, you see a quarterback that can't do it. And what'll happen is, like, these highly inaccurate passes, they'll just miss. And you'll be like, how the did he miss that? Because they can't do it. I want to equate it to people who are shagging punts. Do you guys know what that is when you're trying to catch a punt? There's some guys who can't judge the ball in the air. Like, they just don't have the hand-eye coordination to fair catch a punt. They just can't get underneath it. They'll be running up forward, and then it'll be 3 yards behind them, and they'll be backpedaling and they'll fall. You see it in the outfield in baseball. People who can't read a pop fly. Outfielders can read a pop fly like it's nobody's business. But if you watch anybody else who's not an outfielder try to read a pop fly, they're not good at it. That is the issue with Thomas Castellanos. He can't read where he's supposed to place this ball. So there's so many, I would say there's at least 6 or 7 incompletions a game where he just totally misses the mark. And at the collegiate level, it leads to incomplete passes, batted down pass, whatever. At the professional level, that leads to being benched and never seeing the field. I think his accuracy is terrible. Straight baller, though, right? Super athlete, can catch the corner, can tuck it and run. He's hard to tackle. He's a squirrel, man. He's just out there doing his thing. He is little. But I think that, listen, and I'm going to say something nobody wants to hear, but there's a quarterback that just transferred to Boston College, and his name is Grayson James. And Grayson James played at Duncanville. Grayson James was at FIU last year. Grayson James is not good. Grayson James lost his starting job after a terrible game 1 against La Tech. And he lost his starting job to a guy named Keontae Jenkins, who's bad. But Grayson James just transferred up to Boston College. And everybody's like, oh, he transferred up there to be the backup, right? No, guys. I think at some point, Bill, who's the guy? O'Brien? Or what's his name? Bill, what's his name? The new coach. Isn't it O'Brien? I've got to fucking get my thoughts together. I'm out here. It's late. I've been working all day. But I feel like O'Brien is the new head coach at Boston College, and coming from an NFL background, they want quarterbacks that can make certain passes. And I'm not joking, I wouldn't be surprised if Grayson James, at some point during the regular season, becomes the starting quarterback at Boston College. And I know that sounds out of this world to some of you fans who think it's about, like the dual threat play and all this stuff. I just know his tendency to value accurate pro-style passers. So just listen to what I'm saying. I'm calling my shot, and it sounds wild, sounds improbable, but I'm telling you, this random-ass dude will probably throw better than Thomas Castellanos. True story. Rico, what do you think is wrong with the new generation of fans? I don't try to concern myself with them. They're just kids. They don't have any point of reference. I think fans have always been this way. They just haven't always had technology to let us know that they're this way, okay? They're so finicky. They're so inconsistent. Sorry, I thought somebody was following me. You can't be following me at 10 o'clock at night, bro. You will be killed. That is a fact. I don't come outside unless I'm strapped, bro. This is not to be played with. You could never walk up on me. Sorry, I'm not paranoid. I'm just on a high alert at all times. Anyways, yeah, fans now have access to Twitter. Fans now have access to TikTok and Instagram, and they can just give their opinion on everything, and we can see it all. I think it's always been this way. They're fanatical, right? Isn't the word fan derived from the word fanatic? So they're just crazy about their team or about a particular situation, and they're unreasonably supportive or critical of, things. That's why I always, whenever I talk to the MVPs, I'll let them know. I'll be like, hey, guys, this is fandom. I'll say that all the time. This is fandom. Whew. The runts of the litter can be great dogs. Yep, yes, they can. Thank you, Terry Ann. Greg Ward. Not as athletic as Greg Ward. Greg Ward was special, bro. Greg Ward is... Who's that other guy? King? Eric King? Eric King, Greg Ward. Yeah, very similar. Rico, some guy in Twitter named T-Cow or something similar. So they got to win double-digit games. Colorado has to win double-digit games for this season not to be a disappointment. Prepare to be disappointed. I have Colorado winning 6 to 7 games max. And anybody who has any other expectation of them to win more hasn't studied rosters. Like, you don't know. Like, I'm going to give it to you guys like this. I just studied half the Big 12 today. And I know all the teams, but really, really studied them. The offensive line at Colorado is so bad that it's not better than literally 9, 10 teams in the Big 12. The offensive line at Colorado is so bad, it's not better than 9 or 10 teams in the Big 12. They're at the bottom third of the Big 12. The people they signed to improve are not any good. Like, they're just not. I was looking at Illinois, who's just an average-ass team. Illinois got the best offensive lineman from Houston, right? They just got another guy from Houston. That's what I'm saying. Colorado just got guys from schools. Like, Oregon got the best offensive lineman from Indiana, Bedford. Colorado just got an offensive lineman from Indiana. Like, they just got a guy. It's not like they got some out-of-this-world stud. They didn't get the best player in those units. They didn't get nothing like that. And the other teams did. So they did improve. But, nah, I think they went from, you know, they might be top 90. They might be top something else. Oh, my girl sees a dog now. My bad. I see her now. Why she locked in? She's dragging me now. She sees a dog in front of us. They just showed up in the circle trying to drink water. I don't think their dog knows how to drink water. Yep, they're trying to teach it. My puppy knows how to drink water. Come here. Stay. Slow. Sorry, y'all. I got distracted because we got another puppy out here. Yeah, so Colorado's going to be disappointed if they think they're winning 9 games. It's not happening. They're not going to win any games in November. So they better be bowl eligible before November, because they're not beating any of those teams in November. Those are teams that they have to face. They're facing Oklahoma State, Kansas. Who is it? Oklahoma State, Kansas, 2 others. They just don't, I don't think they match up at all. It doesn't look good at all. Was it Iowa State? It's just bad. It's bad for them. Good girl. Good girl. Excuse me. Let them do their thing. They're putting water in the bowl. Give me a second here. Hey, guys. Evening. It's going. She's very friendly. But I got to warn you, she drinks water from the fountain. Like, if y'all just... oh, they were a little upset. It's okay. My girl's not like that.
Yeah, no, the brown was not either.
Down. Down. Come here, mamas.
Yeah,
Ash, water.
You're fine, though. We could care less about that.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, not in a bad way. I'm just
No, don't worry about it. Hey, y'all got beautiful dogs. I just don't want to bother. Come on, they just a little agitated.
It's super friendly, but the white one is a little
It's okay.
scary. It takes her a second.
Her name is Ash.
Okay.
And Ash never met a stranger. Like, she's cool.
That's the brown one.
Oh, okay.
She's the same way.
Get down, mamas.
She will go play.
Yeah, it's okay. Y'all have a blessed night.
You too.
Beautiful puppies.
You too.
Sorry, y'all. Gotta keep Ash calm. My baby girl don't bark at nobody. She's just chilling. She wants to play. Come here. Down. Sorry, y'all. Good girl. She's trying to run. Whew. I want to Jake Haener hit the field in the NFL. You want Jake Haener to hit the field in the NFL? It's going to be tough, man. That's why you guys should never try to predict somebody's NFL success. Like, you can identify players and how good they are, but you have no control over what team's going to draft them and if they're going to utilize them. That's the nature of the NFL. So while you go out there and you think a particular player is good, the NFL doesn't care. They're going to pick them up, put them on their team, and then not use them. Happens all the time. Some of the best players, some of my favorite players, never saw a field in the NFL. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're bust. I think the NFL evaluates talent differently from everybody else. And I think the NFL is a business in the sense that they're not trying to, come here, mamas. They're not trying to put your favorite player on the field. Oftentimes, they'll draft a guy with no intention of even playing him. He's just a backup plan. They bug me. Kyron Drones will be the best quarterback in the ACC. Yeah, I mean, he's good, but he's not Cam Ward. He's never been better than Cam Ward. Never. There's no way Kyron Drones is better than Cam Ward. Ever. I hope he's better than, no, he won't be better than Grayson McCall. He won't be better than Max Johnson. I love Kyron Drones. Like, I like Virginia Tech. But I don't think of him like that. No, there's some other guys out there, bro. There's some better quarterbacks. Kyron Drones is exciting. He's a playmaker. He's exciting, but I can't go there. I love NFL. My favorite NFLer was Floyd Mayweather. Okay. He was knocked out. Manny Trump, that was glorious. I don't know anything about that. I've never watched a boxing match. Not since Fernando Vargas and De La Hoya, maybe Trinidad and De La Hoya, that time frame. I haven't watched boxing since the year 2000 for sure. I don't care about it at all. I find it extremely boring. This guy hates Colorado. No, I don't hate Colorado. What? What are you talking about? I think I hate being inaccurate more than anything. I think I hate missing more than I would hate any individual team. And I need you guys to understand that. So you might be a fan of a particular team and you might think very highly of them. I have no favorite team. I think very highly of accuracy, of being factually correct. So there's just no other way to put it, man. Like, just get out your feelings and listen. And if you don't like the information being given, then you can leave, but you'll just be uninformed. It happens all the time, right? I'll be right about something and none of you guys are listening. Connor Foreman is listening. That dude's listening while on vacation right now. And he'll remind me, he'll be like, Rico, last year you said Minnesota was going to win 7 games and they won 7 games. I'm like, oh yeah. I didn't make a video about it because that's normal for me to say something and it comes true. Very normal for me. Not a big deal. I think people dwell more on the misses because they're so rare. Like, you'll come in here, people come in here and be like, what about CJ Stroud? What about, so-and-so. And I'll just be like, man, the world had CJ Stroud as the second best quarterback. I had him at number 3. So I missed it by 1. Everybody else missed it by 1. I missed it by 1. Or I missed it by 2, however you want to put it. And that's kind of how you have to keep it in perspective. But you can't let a miss in a sports take, right? I give sports takes every day. You can't let a miss discredit your life's work, all your work. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people upset with what I said in a video a couple days ago. And now there's trolls on Twitter trying to attack my credibility or tell people I'm not honest, I have no integrity, all this stuff. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You don't have to agree with a particular take. That's what's wrong with America today. If you don't agree with a take, that doesn't mean the person is wrong all the time. It means you don't agree with that particular take. Chalk it up to a bad take and then move on. You don't have to ever. The cancel culture is disgusting, bro. The cancel culture is embarrassing. Because then you try to say, oh, anything he says is wrong. Anything he says isn't true. And that's crazy. Because I'm right all the time. And that's just the way it is. We can't have a difference in opinion ever. Or else you just don't know what you're talking about. And that happens far too often. So in here, someone will ask me about Colorado. And the dude will say, this guy hates Colorado. I don't have enough energy to hate Colorado. I am so focused on other teams. I spent all day today studying Hawaii. You think I got time to hate Colorado when I'm studying Hawaii? Or I'm studying Illinois, Georgia Southern? I don't have time for that. And you guys lose sight of that. You guys all think somebody's going to sit around all day because you're used to watching a channel. For example, T-Cal, like you said. That guy's channel, I'm 100% sure, only talks about Colorado. He doesn't know any other team, doesn't study any other team, only talks about Colorado. Might talk about Colorado's opposition, but the whole premise of a lot of these pages and these channels and these content creators is to talk about one particular fan base and to get the whole fan base behind them. And I'm different, guys. I talk about every single team in America, and your fan base may or may not like what I have to say. I'm telling you right now, this offseason, the amount of fans I've gained from Indiana, UTEP, Memphis is out of this world. I just had an Indiana transfer start following me on Twitter. His name is Sedarius Doss, FCS, PFF All-American, Pro Football Focus All-American in the FCS, just transferred to the FBS level. Think he can really play. I talked about him a couple times, and then I said he was my hidden gem and some other things, and he finally found the page and finally found me, and he started following me, and then a bunch of friends of his started following and giving me a shout out. And what you got to understand is like, they like me now, but last year I was screaming out Indiana's going to get their coach fired. Tom Allen's on the hot seat. He's getting fired. And guess what happened? He got fired. That's Dana Holmgren on the hot seat. He got fired. Dana Dimmel on the hot seat. He got fired. Those same fans, if you're a UTEP fan, you probably hated me last year because I said your team was terrible. And here I am singing their praises. I don't hate teams. I hate being inaccurate. I hate missing. So everything I say is with the intent of being accurate. I hope you understand that. You got Colorado winning at least 17 games this year. There you go. Can't wait to see his face when they ball out. See my face when they ball out. So I think you might misunderstand. If Colorado wins 6 games, did they ball out? I think they did. If they win 6 games, they balled out. To think they're going to beat entire teams that just won the Big 12, entire teams that are returning back with coordinators that have never done anything successful at this echelon, with players who have never won any games, like, you just don't have the right recipe for success, bro. You got to check a bunch of boxes, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like, when I go and study Kansas, the Jayhawks, bro, it's night and day. Everybody that's starting for them, they recruited 4 years ago and developed them. You're going up against grown-ass men that they developed. Oh, by the way, Lance Leopold is 3 times the coach Prime is. Lance Leopold is on every short list for a new job. Anytime there's a job opening at a Power 5 school, Michigan, Alabama, Lance Leopold's on that list. And not because he's famous, and not because he's charismatic, and not because his sons are famous. No, Lance Leopold is known because he's a great coach. And people can't grasp that, man. They don't know what it is. Like, the programs that are building winners, programs like K-State, teams like Arizona. You're not beating Arizona. Arizona is the 3rd best team out of the Pac-12 last year. It was, in the conference standings, Washington, Oregon, and Arizona. And Arizona only was 3rd because they didn't start Noah Fafita all year. They started the wrong quarterback. They bringing everybody back. 4 offensive linemen, 2 wide receivers, a quarterback. They improved at running back. Coaching, I don't think they improved, but they definitely didn't get worse. Shout out to Alonzo Carter, the running backs coach. Zoe Carter, he actually follows me on Twitter as well. Defensively, brought back everybody. Lost 1 corner, Prysock, and then, dude, they're just monsters. Go watch Jacob Manu. Like, man, I wish you guys studied these teams and knew what you're up against. It's not even close. It's really not. It's them dudes. Arizona lost to Washington by 1 touchdown and lost to USC in double overtime. And those were Noah Fafita's first 2 starts. And then they never lost again. And they blew out Oklahoma. Finished the final polls 13th in the polls. And you're trying to compare them to a 4-win team. Like, you can't do that, man. It don't work like that. And you don't go sign dudes that weren't starters or weren't stellar and then go, yeah, these guys are it. Like, you got the best receiver off of Vanderbilt, the best receiver off of FAU. Those are not good teams. Those are terrible teams. There's not a guy at those schools that can start at like 40 different Power 5 teams. I shit you not. And it's not comparable. And I want to explain it to you guys. Like, did you ever watch Liberty last year? Liberty was undefeated, was amazing. or they were balling out of control, and then they had to go play Oregon, and they had no chance, right? And Liberty had this wide receiver, C.J. Daniels. And everybody's going to tell you C.J. Daniels is great. He dominated all year. It reminds me of what type of player Colorado would sign. Like you would sign a group of 5 guy that dominated all year long, C.J. Daniels. And you can tell me that guy's great. They can tell me he's LeJontay Wester. But then when you get to the new team you're at and you try to make the starting lineup, you end up 3rd string. I'm talking about C.J. Daniels. He's right now running with the 3s. He ran with the 2s and the 3s at LSU all spring. Couldn't get in the starting lineup. And LSU just lost their starters to the NFL draft. They had better guys on the bench than anybody at Liberty. And I wish people understood that although you improved your position group at Colorado, you improved it. The wide receiver supposedly got better. The offensive line got better. You improved it. It doesn't compare to some of these other position groups. It just doesn't. Like I watched tape, bro. I watched tape, and I've known these players for years upon years. Couldn't start. Not one of those guys could start at some of these other schools. That's why I made the comment the other day, like EA Sports ranked Colorado's offense 89 or something. And they ranked Ole Miss at 89. And I was like, there's not a wide receiver at Colorado that could play at Ole Miss. We know this. Zachary Franklin is a 90 reception wide receiver. Zachary Franklin dominated at UTSA for years. He's the #1 receiver in the country right now, statistically in career stats. Zachary Franklin. #1 statistical returning player by a wide margin. Career receptions, career yards, career touchdowns. He is the only guy on this chart. And he went to Ole Miss last year and couldn't see the field because your stats don't matter, bro. There are people on that bench better than you. At some of these schools, the position groups are so deep, you don't stand a chance. So I want to say this. Go study the secondary at Iowa State. Go study the secondary at Iowa State or Kansas. Just go look up the players and go check their stats, check their metrics, check their accolades, watch the film, and you're going to see Iowa State has 5 defensive backs you can't get open on. And Iowa State has 5 defensive backs, and by and large, better than anything you got over there. And what's crazy is like the coaching staff is so much better. The coaching staff is so much better. When you bring in an NFL coach, NFL coaches don't have the same attention to detail that the college coaches are required to have. And what I'm referring to is NFL coaches, they don't have to teach the players fundamentals. They don't have to teach the players certain aspects of the game because that's expected of them. The players should already know how to do that. They should not be teaching them that. They don't waste time teaching them that because if you don't know it, you don't make it, right? So NFL players got to watch film and learn the whole scheme. And if they don't, well, they're not professional. They're out. They're gone. In college, those same NFL coaches show up and they go, hey, wait, I got to teach these guys how to be professionals? Oh, wait, when I'm done with practice, you want me to watch huddle film and evaluate more talent? I don't do that. I don't evaluate talent. I'm not a scout or a GM. I'm a positions coach. I'm a coordinator. At college, you have to evaluate talent and put together a whole list of who you want to try to sign and get in your recruiting bag. A lot of these professional coaches, when they move from the NFL down to college, they miss that part of the job. They don't do it right because that's something a GM does or a scouting department does at the NFL level. They're experts at taking advantage of schemes and matchups. They're experts at the game of football. But if you can't get the player to be an extension of yourself, if you can't get the player to become an extension of you on the field, you fail. And this is why Phil Hafley just went from struggling at Boston College as a head coach, one of the worst head coaches in America, and now he's magically the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Because he knows how to coach secondary players. He knows how to coach players. He knows how to coach against schemes and do great things. He does not know how to evaluate talent, how to pick the right players, how to recruit, how to get them in the right position to win. Like, he doesn't know how to teach them the fundamentals of the game, or at least he's not good at doing it. He might know how to do it, but he couldn't do it, or at least get his position coaches to do it. So it's just a different animal. So when I see Colorado fans get excited about an NFL coach coming in, I just wonder if they have ever studied the track record, because there are guys who have failed miserably coming from the NFL and not being able to do it correctly. And then there are guys who come from the NFL and do great, but it's because they were great at college and not good at the NFL. Very rarely do you see somebody succeed at both. Very rarely. I can't even think of anybody who's done it off the top of my head. I can't. Pete Carroll. There's only one. Come here, mamas. There's nobody over there for you to be hanging out with. Stop that stuff. My bad. Colorado versus Colorado State will feed families. Yeah. That was last year's lines for the Buffs. Colorado will play for the national championship in January. Do they have a chess club? Like, what do you mean? Are they going to have EA Sports 2025? This is not about last year's line. This is about this year's line. This year's line is a bunch of dudes who weren't any good. They weren't the best players on their own team. And now they're all together, and they're supposed to be good. Like, have you ever studied Iowa's offensive line? Iowa's offensive line is 5 returning starters who are all preseason first, second, third, or fourth team all-conference. Like Iowa's entire starting 5 is better than anybody Colorado's got. And that's what you guys don't understand. It's fucking apples to oranges. It's crazy, the talent gap on the offensive line, linebacker room, 3 out of the 5 secondary positions, whatever you want to do. Like, it's everywhere. It's not comparable. And that's why you're not going to win more than 6 or 7 games. I've seen better teams not win 6 or 7 games. Like, I've seen teams like Florida. Florida's so much better than Colorado. And they're not going to win as many games because of their schedule. Florida's better than them top to bottom, bro. Florida got players for days. I'm telling you, I see a guy named Andy Jean, 5th string wide receiver, just as good as Omarion Miller, if not better. But he plays at Florida. Can't get on the field. Florida's got other receivers. But Andy Jean is better than Omarion Miller. Doesn't matter. Omarion Miller's going to get on the field. Colorado needs him. And that's the point. Is like people don't understand, man. There's just levels to this shit. There really is. We'll go back to this in November. No, you'll be missing in November. You and all the other 20,000 Colorado fans that started following me will be missing. You guys don't care about accuracy. You're about fandom. You're going to make excuses like the line sucks or Shador got injured. You're just going to make 100 excuses as to why you're not any good. And there's just no place for it, man. There's just no place for it. That's a fact. So, police officer pulled up. He's doing his rounds. I don't know what he's doing. Worried about me. I am strapped. How good is Tate Ratledge? Is he the best in the country, or is it hype because he plays for UGA? Is he the best in the country? I don't think so. I don't think it's hype. It might be accurate. Hey, get over here. What are you doing? It might be accurate, but it ain't hype. Like, well, we're not doing that. Rico MF Knows, thank you so much. Caden Salter, the best quarterback in Conference USA. Derek Newcomer. So Caden Salter, a transfer from Tennessee. Pretty good player. And Conference USA quarterbacks aren't that great. Is he better than TJ Finley at Western Kentucky? That's a tough one. I probably lean on Salter being the best quarterback in the conference, but I probably have to sit down and double check Conference USA quarterbacks. But the first one that comes to mind is TJ. Yeah, there's not a lot of great ones. I could be missing somebody though. I don't like doing that. I'm naming my dog Poton. Hilarious. Illinois State record prediction. Illinois State. What are their colors? Their colors are red, right? Are they the Red Hawks? The red something? I don't know. I don't have a clue as to who they are and what they're doing. Man, that cop has not left the parking lot, bro. I don't like that. What's he doing with me? It's 11 o'clock at night. Why does it seem like Notre Dame is always underachieving? Well, I need people to understand the expectation behind Notre Dame. So there's a couple things, right? It's propaganda. So Notre Dame, if you guys don't know what happened, back in the late 80s, Notre Dame was the first team to ever sign a national TV deal. This was back, so I'm gonna give you guys some history here. In the mid 80s, there was it was in the 70s really, but in the mid 80s, there was an overarching arm of the NCAA that was in charge of TV contracts for all college teams, all of them. And they would ensure teams got on TV, national TV at some point, for whatever reason. But some teams and some conferences wanted to be on TV more than others. So these teams and these conferences wanted to be on teams more than others. And so they broke off from this entity, if you will. And they went out and got their own TV deal. First one was Notre Dame. And because Notre Dame got a national TV deal, they got a lot more money than everybody else. Everybody else was splitting the same amount of money. So Notre Dame got a recruiting advantage. And in the late 80s, that's when they started getting Rocket Ishmael. That's when they got Jerome Bettis. That's when they started getting all these guys. Oh, I got super dizzy right now. Holy smokes. I almost fell. Whew, maybe I'm dehydrated. So anyways, late 80s, they get all this stuff. And, excuse me. We gotta get the hell out of here. There's somebody else walking. They go and get all this money and they get an advantage over everybody. But by the mid-90s, this folded and the NCAA got out of the game of managing TV contracts, and they handed it down to the conferences. And that's where we're at now. Eventually, it might get down to the individual university. Like, you'll have to pay for a streaming package for each team. But we'll see as it evolves. But because Notre Dame got out ahead of everybody, they had a big financial advantage. And that's why they used to be national title contenders every year. Then everybody kind of bridged the gap financially by doing their own contracts with their own conference. They stayed independent, and they said it was to play the hardest schedule every year. What it is they don't want to have to share their TV contract with other members of the conference. So now that they're not unique and every game is on national TV for every team, it really doesn't matter, right? So they've lost their allure, but there's still a tendency by recruiting websites to overrate their players. So they'll sign a 3-star kid, and then magically next month he'll be elevated to a 4-star or 5-star. So while it looks like Notre Dame is doing great in recruiting, they're just signing substandard kids who aren't really that good, if I'm being honest. So when you think about it from that perspective, like, they really don't know what they're doing. And they lose all the time, and people will say, well, they're underachieving because they had this, and this. No, they really didn't have any good players. You just over-evaluated them and overinflated them. And you're so used to them being good from a generation ago. And a lot of the people, a lot of the executive decision makers at these companies, like TV channels and websites, you got to think about who are all the bosses and how old are they? They're about my age. They're about 40, 50, maybe even 60, some of the CEOs and stuff. Those guys are going to always think very highly of Notre Dame. So, because that's their generation, that's what they remember. So they go out of their way to paint them a certain way. Like, have you guys ever thought about it? Commercials, when we were younger, they always used to play CCR in the background music. I remember every beer commercial was some CCR shit. You're like, why does it do that? Why do they keep playing classic rock? And then lately, you haven't heard any classic rock. It's because the executives are a different age now. And now you're gonna hear 80s music in the background of these things, or you're gonna hear some MC Hammer shit or something, you know, whatever. It's just, it evolves over time. Up, go, good girl. So Notre Dame is gonna fade away if they don't change and they don't join a conference soon, because their TV contract's gonna become irrelevant. So that's one thing to think about. Excuse me. Well, it was nice talking to you guys. Sorry, it's over an hour, but I gotta get my girl home. Hold up, car pulling up on me. Who can it be? A fresh El Camino running the OD. All right, y'all. Peace. Have a good night. Thank you for the tip. I'm sorry, I saw that late. Digital Assets Jared, man, you always take care of the channel, bro. I believe in you. Peace.